You're listening to the Real Estate Radio Hour, the show that brings you unfiltered stories and insight from the Twin Cities real estate world with your hosts, Chris Rooney, broker at RE/MAX Preferred, and Andy Presky, leader of the Preferred Home Team at RE/MAX Advantage Plus.
Hey, buenos dias.
Hola. It's not kind of bright in here, is it?
Not too bad.
Well, it's better. You can't see me. That's good. All right. Where's Andrew? I heard
yeah, he should be coming from his car. So he'll be in the passenger seat, luckily, and we'll get the party started with him.
Yeah, we'll see if he's legal. That's for sure. Cool. We're back at it. Everyone's sick. So I think everyone's getting back to work finally. At least we are.
Yeah, new year. I'm excited. Some of us thought the show wasn't going to go on, but it's magically happening.
Someone forced it, I think. that might be you.
I got a fun thing going on tomorrow. I'm going to one of the notorious slums of Latin America. You have to go by cable car to this little Bogota like favela, and I'll have a guided tour, so I'll be safe hopefully. But each day, like 100,000 people take one of those cable cars from the slum to the city to work. I mean, it's crazy. So I'm gonna vlog it and learn a ton about it.
Wow! And so they welcome guests. I suppose they make money that way.
Yeah, it was $44 for 3 hours, but they're gonna feed you and give you some drinks, and then obviously protect you. And then one of the people we're with is a community leader. So yeah, none of us are gonna get robbed. Supposedly, it's done through Airbnb experience. Normally, I like to go into these things by myself and have a true adventure, but I'm playing it safe on this one.
Smart move. Well, cool. Well,
yeah, what are you seeing in this market?
I'll tell you what, we're getting. The interest rates are obviously improving. And there's not a lot of inventory on. And I've talked about it so many times on here about how important inventory is. So we have less buyers, but less inventory. So that makes the market still good. And met with already 2 people this year to kind of get stuff rolling. I'll tell you what I suggested to both of them, and we're actually listing one tomorrow as well. But I suggested that we get on the market as soon as we can, because it's one of those. That was you. Me. Okay, I gotta turn my phone off. But I'm recommending that they get on the market soon because of the inventory, that we can get people hopefully in there. I just had a client call me on another house and it sold on multiple offers before he was able to be back in town to see it. So. I'll tell you, it's who knows? We're probably in for another roller coaster. So,
well, speaking of that, I saw this on Twitter. How do you think this affects home buyers? So the math for buying a house no longer works. Cost of renting versus owning. Obviously, this is national, but as you see this little chart here, average monthly new payment is home payment is way up there, and average monthly new lease payment is lower.
Well, I'll tell you what, Nick, I had a year ago, I have a rental on the market right now. It's a house that I own that would have been last year rented in a millisecond. And I've got, in a month, I've gotten 1 showing on it. So I don't necessarily know if that's the case, or people are just hunkering down. I mean, obviously over the winter time, there is a hunker down effect that is happening, that happens, I should say, at this time. But that's just a little unusual. Obviously, payments are higher than maybe what you could get for rent. And if people are not getting their rentals filled, then they're, maybe dropping the rent, and then it works out better for them. So, Andrew.
What up?
He's back.
Hey, if you can, go this way. Andrew, Pressy, go this way if you can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Look at the size of that.
Sexy.
Not sexy. Huge.
Hey, you're lagging a little bit. Is your data in a bad area or no?
We'll see. I'm driving right through the middle of the Twin Cities on AT&T. That's an endorsement or a bash.
You were just talking about the market, Andy. What are you thinking?
Well, man, I tell you, I think we're going to see it picking up. I think that the luxury market, or higher end market is for sure, changing. I think we're seeing, more activity again or continued activity, I should say. How about you?
Yeah, I was just saying that we're talking to people. I'm telling them to get their house ready as soon as possible. I mean, again, with low inventory, I was just saying that there was a buyer of ours that didn't get in town in time and lost out on a place that ended up having multiple offers on it. And I think things are moving. We're getting lots of calls to kind of do stuff. Actually, it started really between Christmas and New Year is when the calls started really coming in. So
okay. Yeah, what's funny is that you and I have been saying this for years, but when you get towards that holiday season between Christmas and New Year's, all the online traffic just goes bananas, and you start seeing more clicks. You start seeing people responding to ads. We're having people because they have the time to do it, right? And now you're thinking of the new year, the new house. You're excited, and so it's an interesting time of the year for sure.
Yeah, I had to add another focus light on me. Do I look tan now?
You look amazing.
The soft light bulb.
I'm trying to use a filter right now to make myself look old and fat. So it looks like it's doing great.
Can you do? I've been seeing that people doing filters on videos. I'm like, what?
Yeah, Nick pulls all that. We don't have any access to that.
Yeah, Nick, why don't you put a filter on us?
Hey, I found another. Huh?
What's that?
What'd you say, Andy? You were to say something?
Oh, I just was saying that we had those. Nick controls all of our filters.
Oh.
My salary's got to go up, boys. Inflation. If you want to look pretty on here, I'll do it production-wise. But hey,
yeah,
I found another photo on Twitter. We showed one recently, or before you came on, Andy. But this one's kind of funny here. Is this how you guys are seeing buyers?
I don't know. I think the sellers are feeling the crunch a little too. I was just at one yesterday where they were thinking they were probably more around 450, and I'm like, hey, you're more 475 to 500 and getting that. So I don't know. I'm seeing a little more. I've been actually higher on 3 of them of what people think. I've been 3, and I don't tell them just because it makes them feel good. I tell them because that's what I really believe it is. And so I think I don't think they're 2021 thinking it's going to sell. How about you?
Yeah, I had one last week where we had they were watching the market go up, 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 up. And so they decided to take a home and renovate, right? And so the idea there is that they thought they could make, brand new kitchen, brand new bathrooms, all new flooring, all new $75,000 with the Anderson windows and beautiful stuff, right? And they thought the market was going to keep going and that this would just kind of blend right in. Well, they're about 120,000 short of where the market is right now. They over-improved too fast. The market was not moving quite at the clip. And that's one thing I'd say to you guys that are listening to the show. Talk to your real estate professionals early and often so that you guys have that advice, because it is a problem when you guys don't have somebody guiding you. It can be a nightmare. And all of a sudden you can make $100,000 mistake real easy.
Well, I'll tell you what, that kind of brings up a flip and what you do on flips. And it's great to put in windows, but only if they really, really need it. If they don't need it, that could be some very expensive costs that you're not going to get money back on. If you think about windows, and I mean, in that case, where Andy, if they put in $75,000 worth of windows, they could have done a total new kitchen with high-end appliances, great countertops, and all new flooring, and which would have gotten them a heck of a lot more money, unless the windows were falling apart. But sometimes it's not the wood components, it's the glass, and you could replace the glass. I remember one house, we replaced 13 panes of glass because their wood was in good shape, but the seals had just broken. and they were going to get all new windows, and I'm like, we don't need to do that. And for like 13 panes, it was like $4,000, and made the whole difference. I mean, sold it right away. And so, yeah, it is important to talk to somebody that knows what's happening in the market when you're doing this stuff. And what you think is important and what a buyer thinks are two different things usually. So,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I got some more news happening in the market. Some sad news. Pay our respects to Kelly Doran. Did you guys hear?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he died.
He wasn't even that old. Yeah, 66. Yeah, God. Yeah, he's done a few things.
Yeah.
So his kids taking over. Look at that portfolio, over $1 billion.
Yeah, $1 billion. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, they were kind of the apartment people, weren't they?
Oh yeah, high-end apartment.
Yeah, did some nice stuff. No, that's too bad. That's too bad.
Yeah, my clients that works for him, and his employees don't like him; they love him.
What's that?
One of my clients works for him as a landscape architect, and she said they don't like him; they love him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So a good guy too.
Very good guy. Yep.
I never knew him, so I'd heard of him, but I didn't know him.
Andy, just make sure you don't cover your speaker, so the volume. Yeah.
Well, there's background music on too that's cranking in my cell phone here.
Music?
Yes.
Nice. Well, your driver needs some entertainment too, you know. There it is. There's the driver. Look at her, 10 and 2. She knows how to drive too. Oh, she's drinking. Yeah, that's good that you're watching. My car now has a dash camera. I don't like that at all. It records. It's like looking at me the whole time. I'm like, turn that damn thing off. But,
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Hey, I got this little reverse mortgage vulture scam. I want to hear if you guys have heard about this or
a reverse mortgage vulture scam. First of all, Andy, why don't you say what a reverse mortgage is?
Reverse mortgages are really a great tool for people when they're looking to get some of the equity out of their house or take the pressure off of having a mortgage. Reverse mortgages can be where they pay you, so you live on that equity or you use it for whatever you wish, maybe whatever that might be. They also use reverse mortgages for purchase, so you can sometimes even end up with a fixed income. You can look like you have a big income, buy a new property. Maybe you want to go
to. He kind of seized up there though, but he's right on. And I'll tell you what, a lot of times when you use a reverse mortgage, and the reason people use a reverse mortgage is because they don't want to have that payment. So it's the opposite. It's kind of like, of an equity line. So if you do an equity loan, and on that equity line, all of a sudden it says, hey, you're going to borrow $10,000, you got to pay me $300 a month. They don't do it like that. It basically pays the owner the money, and then it takes away the equity of the home. So sometimes people can get kind of upside down, and if the market turns, they're not set up as good. But let's see the question and see if we can answer it. All right. Well, it's 7:00 and a woman knocked on the door. My brother spoke with this woman outside. She wanted to come inside. She didn't. And discuss plans for a mortgage with the mother. She didn't meet with the mother, only the brother. She claimed to have called my mom multiple times, but that's false. We're not behind or anything on our mortgage, and this woman isn't linked to the mortgage bank my parents are associated with. Is this a thing that gets you with another lender or a bigger scam? No, it's just, if she's accredited, there's not everyone can do those types of mortgages. That's the one thing. So it's one of those things that, you want to really go into it. If I was your mother, I would be talking to an attorney to see if it's the best thing, but you never know. It could be a good thing. A lot of people use it. We used to talk about that on the radio show quite a bit. They did those reverse mortgages a lot, and they really work for people. It's the one that what Andy was talking about when he kind of went out there was that's a lot more intricate than just going on your own home. But buying on a reverse mortgage is a thing that you can certainly do. But on this mortgage, they do use your age to figure it out. So it's kind of like they're thinking, all right, so the older you are, the better that reverse mortgage is actually, because they're planning on you dying sooner. And then, so their liability isn't out there as long. So it's kind of interesting. So no, I don't think it's a scam. I mean, this person might be scamming if she's saying she's calling your mom and your mom never talked to her. Well, that's two different things, but I think that is something to watch for. People do look at that, and people that have no mortgages, it's a great way for them to be able to get some money rather than borrowing it or living, like a pauper for the rest of their life. So,
yeah, I agree. Can you guys hear me good when I'm way back like this?
Yep.
Yeah, because I was trying to hold the camera and it just wasn't working.
Yep. Nope, you're good.
Okay.
So I think we answered that one.
I got a couple social media reacts here. One's funny. Actually, both are pretty funny. And one is kind of how many people think of their realtors and why they want to replace them.
What?
Oh, boy.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, my people, my friends. This is Caleb, your broker. We're here on the second day of 2024, and we want to speak with you. I know your dream is to buy your house. You don't want to keep paying rent or paying mortgage for other people. So the first thing you need to do, every $100 you got earned, every 100, you have to live with 70, and you have to take 20 to save for your down payment, to purchase.
What?
I couldn't hear any of that.
70 something. I don't know what the heck that was.
Okay. Hey, I couldn't hear it. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
It's me.
That's probably that probably wasn't a video that's probably going to get a lot of people in which to purchase.
Gotcha.
I have no idea, Nick, what that was about. So maybe you can enlighten us because we don't figure these things out.
I don't know. He's a realtor in Miami, and I found his video, and I thought it was interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, quite interesting. So,
3 things that are making your house look cheap as fuck from a luxury interior designer. The amount of time I see these common mistakes in my client's home is insane. Here is what to avoid in order to not make your house look like a piece of shit. The first mistake to avoid is gray wood floors. Builders put this in every single home that they make. It looks super basic. It sucks the life out of any space that you have and immediately devalues your space. 9 out of 10 times we end up ripping it up, so just avoid it from the beginning. The next thing to avoid is furniture sets. There's no reason in 2023 why your nightstands, dresser, bed, every single piece in your room matches. It just makes the room feel like you went to one store and bought everything. It doesn't feel collected, it doesn't feel designer, it doesn't feel high-end. So avoid furniture sets at all costs. I would say just choose one piece from the collection and stick with that. Let me tell you a secret. That mass-produced artwork that's sitting at HomeGoods is not going to make your space look like a designer did it. For the same price, you can easily find some really unique pieces from a local artist or Etsy or even make something yourself. And in the long run, you get a lot more for your money when you have a cool original piece that nobody else has in their house. I hope this video helps you avoid some really shit mistakes when designing your own house.
I tell you, I never really heard about that furniture sets, but in a way that makes some sense.
And I can't hear you guys. All I hear is background music when those videos play, like some kind of like elevator music that's running.
Well,
now it's gone.
That guy was basically talking about how to stage a luxury home and what not to do.
Oh.
So one of the floors was one of the things, but one of the things he said was not having a matching furniture set in your bedrooms. So like you went to, Ashley Furniture and just bought whatever was in that little area versus more of the eclectic look, I would say, where I guess it doesn't give you a collection or look very expensive. So I don't know. I guess I didn't think of that, but I guess when I do look at that, it doesn't excite me as much as something that looks like it was, kind of pieced together and a little more exciting.
Yep.
Hey, what about the gray wood flooring, Chris?
Yeah, I think that was more of a lower end LVP type thing, a vinyl product that he was talking about. You got to get some wood grains in it at least. It depends. I mean, in a luxury home, you can't do that. You just can't. At least in our market, you can't do that. So, boy, Andy gets all these new angles. We get hands in the way. It looks really, look at him.
I can't. I'm sorry, guys. I'm being a jerk. I should really have prepared.
What are you trying to do? Is that on the dashboard?
I'm trying to figure out how to mute it because Nick's telling me to mute it, and all I can hear is background music. And
Andy,
participate.
Andy, in 2024, what makes your house look cheap? Interior design, construction.
Interior design. Well, I think cheap materials for sure. I think people come into new construction looking for new innovations, technology. They like to see what's the best, most energy efficient. And when builders don't display that, they just display what was on sale through their supplier. I think it hurts them.
Flush panel doors. If I'm talking existing homes, I would say that's a big one to me.
Yeah.
So that gives it away. Gold, not gold, but bronze, hardware, the fixtures, the gold fixtures, not the, what do they call it now? The new gold. Not that, because that's pretty but the old brass looking stuff. That doesn't go well.
Agreed. I think that kind of the nickel plated kind of brass or whatever it is, where it's like a brushed brass. And when it seems to be lighter though too. It's not such a golden gold. It's a lighter, almost. I don't know. I like it. I think it's cool.
What do you think of oak, Andy?
I think it's coming back. I think that it's just, what's interesting is that for years, oak has been cool when it's quarter sawn, or it has, the right shape of the panel when it's used in almost like a Nordic or Scandinavian style. It works really well. And then when you get back into the arch top cabinets, and then people immediately think of it as being 70s, 80s, kind of stuff. So I think in the right application and the right design, it works very well. And I think you're going to see it come back again.
I think the stain color and how much of it you have is a big thing. So if you have a ton of it, it's good to maybe hit some pieces and enamel them, and or even try a different color stain. I mean, if it's the old honey oak type thing, that's just not. It's not, depending on price point again. But and if it's in good shape, I mean, that's the other thing. If I have oak and people don't want to change it, then what I do is really, let's polish this stuff up and make it look as best as we can, because up and looks good and it's clean is going to be a positive influence on a potential purchaser. So, and I would also limit the number of photos that you do if it's all completely oak. So if it's just like throwing it, kind of like hitting them in the head with it constantly, if you hit on that stuff, and maybe it's just you get better angles or different angles they can tell what it is, but it's not like, hey, it's just on this fireplace that's got a whole oak mantle surrounded with all these cabinets. You might want to take it back from it and grab the windows and have it off to the side, kind of thing. So I got a thumbs up.
What about his?
I'll just go like this or like this.
Yeah.
What about his comment on the artwork? The basic artwork you get at those stores, or do you get some local stuff to freshen it up, make it look more unique?
Yeah, I think that in my world, I guess I haven't really ever looked at that as part of the staging. See, my level of staging is more allowing the house to really showcase itself, creating clear pathways, comfortable things that blend in, let the house be the showcase. I think though that sometimes, like Chris is saying, when you get into those houses where they are exceptional and they deserve something really cool. It's fun to do, but I think for a majority of my clients over the years, it's been really a focus on clearing paths, decluttering, cleaning, and artwork is something that's probably one of the last things I touch.
Well, Andy, we've talked many times when we're looking at these houses and saying, hey, what would we do with them? A lot of things that we talk about is removing a lot of that art. And the reason we're doing it is we're trying to make it someone else's new home versus their home and how they did it. And sometimes that art will really throw people off, and like they can't look at it. It's just like, you know what? Remember the one that had all the Christmas trees set up? It was like all year round. It was like in summer, and we couldn't stop talking about that. But yet it was some really high end decorating stuff that they had, but it was like we couldn't get past it. And so if you can't get past it, that becomes a problem. I was at a house the other day, and they did it beautifully. It's really nice, but it's too much. And so we have to really kind of like take it down and cool it. The 2008 paint color type stuff, which it looks really good. But when you add that to a bunch of stuff with it, it just kind of, it gets overshadowed. And so it's our job as agents in which to be able to let those sellers know. But sometimes in high-end houses, you got to have some of that stuff to get people to believe that it's high-end too. So
merchandising, right? It's like it's just like a retail store. They don't have those mannequins in that store just for fun. That's to show you exactly how it looks, fits, feels, and you got to do the same thing sometimes with real estate.
You got it. And I'll tell you what, it's a real trick in which to be able to do that and present it to a seller and not make it sound like their stuff stinks. I mean, it's a real trick, because you got to, hey, this is great, but how we sell and how we live are two different things. What we're trying to do is we're trying to sell to a number of people to hopefully get more people involved to be able to drive that price up and make you more money. And so you almost have to look at that house as it is your showroom versus your home at that point. It's not your house anymore. And that we have to go in and create what we think is going to make the most amount of money. Now, some sellers don't want to do that, which is fine. That's up to them. But it's our job to be able to tell them that, because if we don't, and they end up failing, or it sits for a while because we didn't tell them, I mean, now it's on us. So I believe it's on us.
Speaking about those luxury homes, we're going to go to one of the top listings in the state, Breezy Point in Wayzata. It's going to be brought to you by Chris Rooney Home Experts.
I was just 1 year old when my family started in real estate, where both my parents were agents. They also dabbled in investing in real estate, rentals, flips, and construction. After college, I went right into getting my license in July of 1990. As a 23-year-old agent in an industry that looks nothing like today, I had to know more for my clients to choose me. There wasn't Zillow or social media to tell them how good I was. I had to win them over with knowledge. With knowledge comes confidence, and with confidence comes results.
Hi, this bad boy just came on the market. It's been on the market for 6 days.
Wow.
Oh boy. That seems like give me a map, Nick. Okay, go in a little more. That's why Zeta Bay, isn't it? Yep. Yeah. Okay. Boy, that's obviously, when you get into a house like this, it's not 12.5 million. More than likely, you're going to have to kind of make it to your own. So I think that this is actually kind of a bargain for what it has. And I'm sure they're making sure that someone who's going to come in understands they're going to put $6-8 million into it. It's going to be a $20 million estate. But that's in a great spot. Looks like the land is huge. It's 20,000 feet. This is someone that money doesn't really affect them. When was it built? 80? Was that 88? Look at that, Andy. Only 80,000 a month if you finance that thing.
I'm in.
That ain't bad. I think us and 80 of our friends could do that.
Wow.
All right, let's see some photos. Did it sell ever before?
Yep.
I can't see this.
4 million. 4 million in 1990 or 5 million in 1998.
That was just the lot. I'll guarantee it. I mean, that house you couldn't build for 20 million today. Just the house. So, all right, let's go through some of those photos. I did not see this one. Come on.
Hey, Andy, when you want to talk, just wave your hand so then I'll unmute you.
See, those are all copper. They've obviously turned a little different color. You see all the run marks on the cedar shakes as well that are kind of coming off there. So that's all got to get cleaned up. Wow.
Yeah, for this kind of listing, why wouldn't they do that?
Because it's probably there's so much to do in it.
Oh,
Let's keep going. This is one too. I got to see how big this lot is because this is one too that it might the lot value alone.
It was 3.87 acres.
Yeah. I mean, that lot value is probably the lot value. I don't know if it can be subdivided or not, but there's another one that sold over on Wayzata Bay that was $12 million as well. And that it was able to do 3 different lots. Yeah. See, that's an estate type place. The person that's probably going to buy this is probably going to get rid of that house.
wow.
Yeah. They might use that for the Bobcats, though. But I guarantee you that's what's happening. Let's go inside. I'm very curious.
They said it's like an English manor.
Yeah. Look at that. They have that little area up in the front, kind of like a gathering area before you actually enter the house. Let's see what I mean. When you go into that kind of house, I mean, just there's so much to do. It's going to be a grand renovation or it's going to be a teardown for somebody. So can you imagine having that kind of money to be able to do that?
Nope.
And the vision. So let's just say you were going to redo that particular house, how you wanted it to your own. But look at that land. I mean, it's crazy.
I probably would have put it closer to the lake.
Well, I think the next person probably will.
You really think they're going to level a $12 million house?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. I mean, where that sits. I mean, I know of one that just sold. It sold 2 years ago, and it was, I think it was 11 million. I think they could have. I think they could get it into 3 different lots if they wanted to, but it was a single lot that went for 11, and no house on it. So, yeah. Yeah, I mean, if they were going to sell this as a house, or they thought the house was the sale, I think they would have cleaned up that outside or not made it so prominent. But they're trying to let people see the estate aspect of this. I mean, it's nice. I mean, we wouldn't be tearing it down. We'd be paying $80,000 a month to live there.
Yeah. Man, the house is just so full of character. It's cool. I like it the way it is, man. I wasn't real fond of the entryway, but
yeah, with the stairs.
Yeah.
So, what kind of money does a person who would buy this and tear it down have? I mean, hundreds of millions.
Totally. This is generational money.
Yeah.
This is money that it's all paid for, and then they just pay the taxes. But I mean, alone on the taxes. I mean, what are the taxes on this, Nick? Does it say?
70, 80 grand a year, I bet.
I bet you more. 100 and doesn't it says 12 million, 3.4 acres. No. I think the taxes are on the bottom. No. Price history, keep going. There you go. Oh, you're right, Andy. It's only assessed on 6.8 million. I mean, that's going to be a lot higher. I was thinking it'd be 120 to 150. There's houses on that lake that have $350,000 in taxes, just property tax alone.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I would have a hotline going right to the mayor for that kind of money a year.
How about that little master suite there?
That's decent.
Not shabby.
I'd do bunk beds. If that was my room.
You'd have a hotline right to the mayor.
I'd also have the water slide in there.
You'd have a slide?
Yeah.
Totally. But you can see, I mean, it was ungodly beautiful in 1988, but I mean, things have changed now. Technology and design, architecture, I mean, you never know. I like it more as we go through it. That's for sure. I mean, that's very particular to somebody and how they did that design. And I think that's what you see in these houses, that people do it for what they want. And it doesn't matter. They're not thinking about reselling it.
Oh, so that's cool.
A lap pool.
Double decker.
Yeah. Well, you got a lap pool, but you got a little mezzanine to kind of watch the swimmers, I guess.
I hope it's deep down there because you and I'd be cannonballing.
Totally.
Upper level.
There's racing lanes. We'd be totally racing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's called an exercise pool, Andy, with a hot tub.
No, you and I would have jet skis down there.
Totally. Oh, that's where we would be for sure.
Oh yeah.
Totally.
Oh man.
Look at I mean, nowadays you wouldn't have those lower ceilings in a lower level either, and that was normal back then. They didn't do the high ceilings, which they do now.
Yeah. Feels like an old Wisconsin pub down in the basement.
Super cool. Yeah, I mean, just try to build that house, Andy. I mean, there's no way you do it under 20 million.
No.
It's got to be at least 1,000 square foot. It has to be. But boy, you bring all that copper back to life. Look at that. Jeez, tennis court.
Did you guys snoop and see who owns it?
I mean, why wouldn't you have a tennis court? Yeah, I didn't. This is the first time I'm seeing it. But it definitely doesn't look like it could be subdivided. So who's got it listed, Nick? Does it say? I have to look that one up.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask too. How does an agent get one of these houses? You just know the right person, or they're their personal agent?
Reputation typically comes in there. There's a lot of people that market that lake that do a lot of high-end stuff. Meredith Howell, Jeff Dewing, Adams.
Listed by Timothy C. Lovett, Coldwell Banker, and Mia Birdsley.
Okay, they're not the normal ones, but that they probably know them. But yeah, or they've done stuff for them in the past. But usually, there's some agents there that do a lot of stuff on the lake, just like Kramer and Sons builds a lot of them. So they always people say, well, I better talk to them, and then they talk to them, and then they end up, if they get them or don't get them. But God, their signs are everywhere on that lake now. It used to not be as much. I mean, Denali and all those other guys used to be. There's a lot of them. They still do some, but Kramer and Sons is unbelievable.
All right, hey, we're going to get into the 4 coolest underrated Minnesota lakes. Andy, you're going to be taking over this. We'll play your commercial.
Hey guys, Andy Prasky with RE/MAX and the Preferred Home Team. If your house didn't sell before the listing expired, you probably are feeling a little frustrated, and I understand. It's a hard spot to be in. Let me run down a few options for you. When your house hasn't sold, you can take it off the market completely, sell it yourself, or work with an agent to relist it. If this is a bit overwhelming, here's what I'll tell you. There's probably a reason you wanted to move, so deciding you're not going to move isn't really putting your needs first. And while you can try to sell it yourself, it's an involved process, and if you're already stressed because it didn't sell the first time, take taking on the pressure of selling it on your own may be more than you want to tackle. Option 3 is to relist it. Now, I know you didn't have a great experience, and I want to change that. I'm here to listen and offer advice. Let's connect so that you can have a partner who can help you make a plan to help you make your next real estate move. Call me Andy P. I'd love to help you on your real estate journey today.
Andy P.
Whoa.
I like Andy P. I don't know why.
All right, guys. Hey, this is a little article. My bad. This is a little article written for the more underrated lakes in Minnesota. We've talked about Big Marine Lake, but this is the first one. Andy, what do you think?
Which lake is it? Reed?
It's Marine on St. Croix.
Oh,
It's right
that's
off
a
the
town.
river.
Yeah. That's a beautiful town.
It is. That to me is like the quintessential river town or lake town.
Yep.
It just gives you that feel of it in the city.
Yeah,
So,
between there and a little north of there, you have Scandia, and Scandia is gorgeous too, and just rolling hills and beautiful. And it's a little trickier to get to those areas. That's why I think they're quiet. Obviously they're not. Straight north of Stillwater, you get into that Marine on the St. Croix there and that area and all the lakes, and it's quiet. It's beautiful. Lots of trees, lots of character with the landscape. If you're looking for something unique where you don't feel like you're living in the city, that'd be a great spot for you. And I don't think that there's really, like you and I, Chris, at, I know it was about a year ago or so, a couple years ago, we went out and we've been at houses that are in the $10 to $20 million range in those areas. And so it's definitely beautiful. I think the marketplace will handle your investment level, regardless of how high you want to go. I think you're set. And I think it's a great area.
yeah, it is nice. Really nice.
Lake Rebecca in Rockford, Minnesota, in the west. You heard of this one?
No, I've been around it. I haven't had the opportunity yet or the privilege of selling on there yet, but it's something that, that Rockford area is kind of the I don't know, it'll become hot over the next couple of years. It's, 15 miles out of, or 2 miles out of Plymouth?
It's not that far out. It really isn't.
Right. And I think that it'll eventually get popular as long as they keep improving your freeway or highway system out there. So, you get 55 or whatever, 394 going west, and you'll be fine. So
It says it's a swan refuge.
Yeah, park reserve too. Yep.
Wow. Free flying trumpeter swans may be seen there year round. Wow.
Did I ever tell you guys that a trumpeter swan, and I'm not joking with you, a couple weeks ago flew into our house, actually hit our window in our office, and we thought somebody was coming through the window, and it was a sick juvenile trumpeter swan. Wow. And hit that. So of course we call. They come out and they picked him up and they said something was wrong with him before he hit the house. There's a ton in Champlin. That's what I was gonna say. Along the river there, all the way up through like Elk River, Monticello, it's just full of swans. They look like like the old Canadian geese are in some areas.
Do they hang out on your pond?
Rarely. They when they're in the breeding season, they'll come in there looking for nesting areas. But we've never had a pair nest in there yet.
Interesting.
Hey, how about Horseshoe Lake in Mission, Minnesota?
First of all,
I've never been and I've never heard of it.
Well, it's right by Cross Lake, west of Pelican Lake, which is home to the popular Breezy Point Resort. That's called Horseshoe Lake is Breezy Point Resort. Oh, wow.
So it used to be called Sandbar too.
Oh, okay. Well, I apologize. We're under power lines going up a hill. Yes, I have never honestly heard of that lake, but I know the Pelican Lake area very well. Chris and I know Chris does too. And the Pelican Lake area is fantastic. And like you said, Breezy Point's right there. Lots of golf courses. I believe that's now the home of Mark Pedig and some of those guys up that way. So
Big Brent Anderson.
Oh yeah. I don't know if he's up in Breezy. He's down in Lakeshore on. He's right on Lake Margaret.
He just keeps climbing up he just keeps going. That guy.
Well, he's a stud. he's one of those guys that understands the value of relationships and is out there actually networking every week and, you know, doing what you need to do as a real estate agent to grow your business, for sure.
Yeah, both good guys.
They're great guys.
Fairmont Chain of Lakes in Fairmont, Minnesota.
You know, actually, there's some lake lots down there that were just offered to us not too long ago that are in the 150s, and beautiful lake lots in the 150s. And so you have more of a farm lake feel down that way. You know, they're not as deep. They're in general, not all of them, but in some of them are not as deep. And you have where you are, they're not the up north lakes, but you're close to the cities and you can have a house on the lake and pontoon and have fun and all that good stuff, as long as you're not as picky with the water clarity.
I'll tell you what I like too. I think that if it's for me and it was a cabin, I really like the chain of lakes when it has multiple lakes, and it says there's 5 of them. And I just think that is more intrigue, and, you know, you can actually go out on your boat. And I live on Prior Lake, which is great. It's a metro lake, but you know, you can only go in a couple circles so long before you're kind of like, all right, that was great. You know, let's move on. So I kind of like that whole chain of lakes kind of concept.
Yeah, I think it's cool. You know, just having a variety to get to. And I haven't navigated the lake, so I don't know how easy it is to get from place to place, but I'm sure there's some of our listeners or, you know, people that know us that would guide us on that. I just know that there's lots available and they're affordable, and it'd be a fun way to get on a lake close to the cities, you know, within that hour commute.
I was going to ask, so all the lakes in Minnesota, how hard is it to like get the water and make a lake that isn't really populated, like feasible? Like all the different septics and whatnot. Is it complicated?
Yeah, I mean, everyone has their own little rules and regulations. I mean, I sold one up in Grand Marais. I mean, that they didn't even, I mean, there's no plumbing. Everyone had outhouses on it, you know. I mean, that to me is a little too much. I watch that kind of stuff on TV. I don't want to live that. But Andy, when you up in Canada, you guys had the same stuff. But I mean, there's a lot of lakes. But you know, I was just watching a show it was like on Netflix, and it was going to come up, and it was something about Alaska, and they said there's like 1 million lakes in Alaska.
Wow.
I mean, think about that. We're like the big 10,000, which is, it's more than 10,000. There's 1 million lakes in Alaska. I couldn't believe that.
Well, it's almost as big as most United States, so it's huge. But
yeah. So, anyways,
crazy.
So we didn't really know much about any of those lakes.
I try to keep it authentic, and what I would do. So here's an example, guys. So let's say that somebody does call me and say, "Hey, I want to know this area, or I want to look at this lake, or I want to look at this area." First thing I do is I do a little research, and I decide if I can guide them on the right decisions. Is there enough information there for me as an agent to guide them? Do I have resources? Do I have a Chris Rooney in that town? Do I have a Mark Pedig or Brent Anderson or whoever that I can go to and ask questions? If I don't, first thing I would do is probably try to find somebody local that I can either partner with or I could refer to and work with. So that's a key thing is that when you're getting into an area you're not familiar with, again, and really sorry guys, my wife drives with a hot foot. She squealed out that. Yeah, okay. The idea there is that they have the expertise, local knowledge, and in real estate you make money when you buy. You don't make money when you sell. So you do want to have that that information on the front end before you make a buying decision.
Yeah, Andy, I was just at exactly what you just said, and I was at one in Clearwater. You know, St. Cloud State was my Harvard on the Hill college that I was at, and wasn't far from there. But have you heard of Long Lake in Clearwater? There's a lot of long lakes, but it's actually a really kind of a neat lake, and I really kind of looked at it. And I think that it's going to be a definite metro type purchaser, possibly, and or there. So I think I'm gonna do that one, and it was you get a lot of house for what the money is, and then I mean you're talking it's maybe I mean, from your house, it's a 35-minute, 40-minute drive. It's nothing, to go to a cabin. And it's a long lake, but it's really good for boating. There's good disparity of values as well.
Yep.
I mean, some people have pole barns and some people have really super nice luxury brand new houses. So kind of a fun little thing and not too far out of town. So
I tell you, with people now, a lot of people that work remote or they only have to go in 2 days a week, I think you're going to see more and more people wandering out into that 1 hour circle around the cities. And, for a couple of days out of the week, if you could live on a beautiful lake and have, a great little piece of heaven, your little slice, and make it work, I think it's a great, great plan.
Yeah. Yeah. Once.
We'll do one more here. We had someone selling their home. Appraisal came in $40K under our agreed upon price, and we're supposed to close next week. Advice. I think the buyers are starting to be a little worried. How do you guys deal with this situation?
I mean, again, the appraisal is for your lender. So it's your lender's appraisal telling you what they feel the house is worth, and they're going to lend you money on the terms that they want, which would, more than likely be 20% down on the lesser of the appraised value or the purchase price. So you can try to fight it, give them comps to try to do it. But I wouldn't be so worried about, oh my gosh, the house is we overpaid for it $40,000. I don't look at it that way. I mean, because some appraisers just look differently. Usually a realtor should prepare that appraiser. I mean, if there's any question on value, they need to give them comps or show them how they got to that point. I mean, we're doing it on the lake all the time because the lake prices, really fluctuate. And it's not necessarily always the house. It might be the land that it's sitting on that all of a sudden that's worth 200,000 more because obviously our lake shore is flatter and the other one that looks bigger and like a better house. And so you have to help the appraisers along, and they're only doing what they're supposed to be doing and how they're supposed to be doing it with the bank. So there's a lot of ways in which to be able to get around that and fight.
Yeah. And I also, as a listing agent, I tell you this is the hardest thing for us because we go out and meet a client for the first time. We're trying to impress them, have them hire us, and give them the news of what their house is really worth. And honest real estate agents will tell you what your house is really worth. And I think the problem we have is that a lot of agents will not tell you what your house is really worth. They'll let you list it for what you want. So when your house comes in under $30,000 on an appraisal, that means your real estate agent probably didn't do a good job of coaching you on values per se, or there's a lot of good comparables in that area, assuming that the appraisal is accurate or whatever. But the other thing is that, with FHA, like for buyers there, they're allowed out. The FHA escape clause that they have, they're allowed out of that FHA. Sorry again, my wife just has this hot foot. She just floors it and the camera comes flying at me. Anyway, so going back to FHA. So FHA appraisals are good for up to, I believe it's 6 months. So even if you have an appraisal done on the property and you say, you know what, we're going to reject your financing. Your appraisal came in low. We're going to reject your offer now. We're going to let you out of this. You're right. And you let them go. That appraisal is still stuck there. So if another buyer comes in using FHA financing, they're going to use that same appraisal. So FHA is a problem. Conventional, I've had pushback before where we've actually told people to go to a different lender that's actually going to work with us instead of having a lender that's fighting us and just saying, well, it is what it is. Good luck, guys. And so we've had that as well. And I'm sure you too, Chris, have had that where we as a listing agent say, we need a new representative here from a bank that will take accountability for the customization, the pools, the views, the whatever it is that can help us get that higher appraisal so the deal can happen.
Well, I think that's really important from an agent perspective. Is what we do is you got to have contingencies in place, and then how do you work with them? I've got a lender that also works with a bank, and that they will allow seller holdbacks and stuff like that as well. And so it's like, hey, if we can't get that appraisal to work, but hey, it is what it's worth, and the buyer wants to buy it, and the seller's not going to take less for it, maybe the seller will finance that extra $40,000 for them and hold on to it. And so you got a problem. Now we got to deal with it. How do we deal with it? First thing is you want to go after that appraisal and see if you can get that changed. But then you got to start looking at other alternatives too. So.
Well, and that's the same thing, Chris, as a listing. I keep going to the listing agent side because I do more of that. That's why I'll favor an offer that has 30% down versus an offer that has 4% or 3%.
Why?
You know what I mean?
Why?
Well, because when the appraisal comes in low, they're not going to care. They're still going to close the deal. The thing still happens.
And sometimes there's no appraisal.
Right, yeah, and that too.
Yeah.
The waiver.
Yep. So, yep. But that's, I mean, and that is where, I hate to say it, but that's where the experience comes into play. And someone who's done it multiple times, had it happen to them multiple times. And I think that's the thing that's good is that, hey, we've had all these crappy things happen to us, and now we don't want them to happen anymore. And so we're able to protect them. I mean, that's what I sell all the time. It's a lot of, anyone can sell a house. It's being able to, when the problem arises, how is it going to be handled? And, and after the fact, how are you going to handle that? So, yeah.
Yep, facts. I like it. I think that it's, but every working row, like the old rowing the boat in the same direction, right? So we get what we want to get it to close and to be successful. And so.
Yep. Win-win. So. Awesome.
Andy, are there EV chargers on Pilgrim's Point yet? Big Greg said it.
What does he mean EV?
Electric cars, electric vehicles.
Oh, chargers? No, yeah. They expect you to bike out there.
That's a nature lake now.
Yeah, we're gonna outlaw boating on that lake, and
that's why Andy's putting a tent on there with an outhouse. He's going green. Yep.
Only organic picnics are allowed on that point, and no, you know what? Out on that point, I'm sure at some point in time, electric vehicles. I think a lot of people assume that that's for free, and what's interesting is that it's not. So even the guys, I mean, Chris, you can attest to this. Sometimes you get the free charge, whatever, with your package you bought, but most people don't. Most people have to pay to charge their cars. So, and if it's a fast charge or a rapid charge, you pay even more. So, like, if there's an opportunity to make money by charging cars, I'm sure they will.
Absolutely. They get 34 to 36 cents a kilowatt from what I was seeing. I have a Tesla. When I got my Tesla, my deal was I get free supercharging forever for the life of that car. And then they just did a deal where they said, hey, if you want to trade this in or just buy a different one, we'll switch that supercharging over. So I did. And this charger now gets 400 miles. I get 400 miles, but I had to go to the charger because I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take advantage of this. And it says it'll do 200 miles in 15 minutes.
Wow.
And so I went there, and mine had to charge like 260 miles, 25 minutes. I was done. It was unbelievable. It was like sweet. And that would have been, I mean, per kilowatt, I think it was like, I don't know, 51 kilowatts or something. So it would have been like $18, $20 in which to be able to do that. So I'm like, hell yeah, I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to take advantage of it. I'd probably only use the charger 4 times in my life because I always have it at my home. But yeah, they're not doing it for free. That's for sure.
Yeah. No, you get to that point of where you have, I was at a party the other night, and I know you got a kick out of it because they were literally multiple electric car owners were at this party. We had one guy had the new GMC Hummer electric vehicle, which everybody was talking about. And he was saying the quality is unbelievable. The miles they say you can go is accurate. There's no like Tesla has kind of a bad reputation for saying we go 400 miles and it goes 360 because you drive it harder. And so that's their, only thing they can pick on. So that's what they pick on. Right. And then we had a guy there with a Rivian, and there was a guy there that was in the process of buying a Fisker, which I don't know. So it's an interesting party, but
I just saw one of those for the first time.
They weren't interested in the electric as much as they're interested in the cool technology that comes with those cars, because they know that you're a technology junkie if you buy an electric car. So that there's a lot of technology in those cars that we're not getting with our gas powered cars. So.
No, it's crazy, the technology that you get. And I always tell people, they all say I'm full of crap when I say this, but I saw a Tesla in a parking lot and I'm like, I like that car. I'm going to find out what the hell it is.
Yeah.
I never knew until I went to go test drive it that it was electric.
I believe, yes.
Like, what? But then you hit the pedal and it, boom, and it's like you can't give it up. It's crazy.
Well, that's all these guys. They also had alternative cars, and so they're doing this as a toy. They're not making this their main commuter or whatever, but you know.
Great. Well, first episode of 2024. I'm glad people came here to join it. Click that link. Our website's full episodes. Share it. Give us a like. If you want to buy or sell, you know who to call, and send in any questions each week.
Thanks for putting me in Hotfoot here.
Hotfoot did good. Are you in Farmington now?
Yeah, we are not. Our vehicle's in one piece. Got here very fast. Got here in under an hour.
I see that. Wow. So, All right. Have a good day.
All right, guys. You too. See you.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Real Estate Radio Hour. Don't forget to visit our website, realestateradiohour.com, where you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, or your preferred podcast listening app. If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes or sharing us with a friend. Until next time, stay awesome, Twin Cities.